Aloha. This is Hope Johnson with Wisdom Dialogues coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. We're having a lovely sunny day, and I'm just starting out in my different location where the sun doesn't come over here as much a little bit later once it gets like 4:30. Uh, yes. So now I have the view of my garden, and you have the view of our weight room. Isn't that so fun? Ah, well, I'm so blessed to be here with you. I'm so grateful for my wisdom, all my wisdom dialogues peeps. I feel like they're my best friends because it's like um, they vibe at this frequency where they are seeking the highest, and that is just near and dear to my heart. I just have so much fun uh, relating with my friends because my friends know that none of this is real and none of it matters. So we go into drama stories, all of our stories we just use for awakening. It's not like you have to get rid of the stories. It's like when we're looking together on a story comes out of one of our mouths and the other one is aware that it's a story. It holds it open for us to see. We hold the door open for each other to see. It's so sweet. It's like we open the blinds for one another whenever we seem to go into uh, a sense like something's wrong, right? Um, when a friend is making attack real, you know, friends that know can take it. It's like, hey, you're taking that as a threat. And it's like, oh yeah, I can't really do that, can I? Unless I want to attack myself. I mean, I can. That's really the choice I can make. I can choose to attack myself, or I could be released from the attacks I already made on myself. And you know what? It's not a matter of making yourself wrong when you find yourself attacking yourself. That's just how it is. If you weren't attacking yourself at all, you wouldn't get the perception of a body. You wouldn't get that perception. Constantly, whenever you have a thought that's about the world, constantly you're tensing up in the body's energy. That's a tensing up. I noticed that in myself many years ago, just watching the body's energy field, or you can say the nervous system is another way to look at that. That helps you to tune in to how, it's gripping. And I'd notice when a thought would occur to me, it would just grip. I mean, if it's not a complete thought of God, if it's a thought of the world, if it's not a healing thought, then it's gripping. So that's the difference. It's like, how I talk about there's one system of thought in the mind that's all ego, right? It leads to death. It causes confusion, conflict, disease, all the different poverty, all the different things that we consider to be problematic. Whereas the system of thought, that's the system that reflects the love that you are, it only leads to more joy because it is joy. It's bringing joy now. It's releasing you from what you made with the ego's thought system. When you're following the ego's thought system, it's like you know what's going on. Okay. You never really know what's going on. You can sense an energy at play. That energy at play. Okay. Whenever you're relating with anything, there's an energy. It's kind of like you can see a nervous system kind of reaction to thinking about that person, place, thing, situation, anything like that. Watching that energy play, anything that's fearful from you is tense. So when you're thinking about the situation, it's tense. But if you're holding the situation, like say there's some thoughts crossing about the situation and you're holding the situation lightly, that means you're paying attention to how it feels to be projecting that situation. That's the only way you're really going to be able to hold it lightly. How are you going to hold it lightly when it seems like it's really heavy? Unless you're willing to see that you're projecting the situation. And so that makes it really interesting, because now you can see what it's like to project that situation. You can actually see what you do to yourself. It's really fun. Now, the situation is nothing. It's completely meaningless, but you're projecting it for a particular reaction. So when you notice that you're projecting it for a particular action, you can kind of see your junky ways, your addictive ways. When that plays out in light of your awareness, it just burns itself out. You get to the point where you're not interested in harming yourself, and over time, layer by layer, you just wear away through these constructs that you put on yourself that make it so that something's wrong or bad that you perceive in the first place. I mean, look, the things that are coming are only coming to meet feelings that are already present. So when they come and you get the reaction, that's where the opportunity comes in. That's why they say it's going to keep on coming until it's healed. It's going to keep on coming, because that's where the opportunity is. You don't get a sense of that feeling until you have something to justify it with. So you're projecting something to justify with, and then that feeling goes away again in a little while, and it'll be gone for however number of years, days, minutes, whatever it is. And then something will trigger and it'll come back again. But that trigger is actually projected by you. It's not like a trigger can come from outside of you. The trigger is already, you're seeing the past. When you get a trigger, you're seeing the past. That's a messenger that you sent out to bring back that perception to you. It's like you send it out with instructions, it finds something, makes a situation, and you got it. And then you got that feeling that you wanted, so you could justify harboring that feeling, because there's this unwillingness to just feel the feeling. Like, it's not a dreadful thing to feel an upset feeling, but we have put layers of defensiveness over the feelings to think of it as a dreadful thing. Yet we keep on being made to express and make apparent choices in ways that lead to the same triggering again and again and again. And, I've seen that in my own mind. Like, I've noticed that it's going in a direction that's leading somewhere. Like the way my expression is playing out, what I seem to do, let's say, whatever I seem to be doing, it's like I can observe and be aware that what I seem to be doing is leading down a path that I'm not going to really like the outcome. And I recognize that I don't have a choice in this. So I'm just watching with willingness to embrace what it is. I've seen this before. I've seen it with friends, like where someone will befriend me and I'll know, I could sense the energy play, but it doesn't matter. It's like there's this curious thing that's just going and it's pursuing a friendship with, someone. And it's like, just watching it. Okay, I know. And then the thing comes up and it's like, okay, perfect. And the way you are with it is everything. It's the way you'll be with it, watching the projections. watching the projections. I would find myself projecting about the person, and I would realize it right away. Like I would get like a sick feeling, if I projected about the person. I had one instance where I had a friend come over and I started projecting about another friend to him. And then I started feeling sick, and he was really observant too. And he noticed he texted me after he was gone, and he said, "Hey, I noticed you seem not to be not feeling that well." And I said, "Yeah, well, I was expressing something that wasn't really true to you." And that's just how it goes for me. Whenever I do something like that, that's how it goes. I just have to let the person off the hook. And that's really where the lesson is leading, you know and I kind of got the hit too, like this is it's actually a gentle lesson. It was very gentle. It's like you're always going to get to as gentle of a lesson as you'll allow for yourself. So it's like you don't have to go through those kinds of things where you're setting yourself up, but you do have to go through them because you're stubborn. Like if you're stubborn, you're just going to find yourself going through stuff like that. And that's how we are. We're really stubborn. I've looked into it. I've observed how it is in my own mind. And it's kind of like, I'm always talking the way I always talk. It's like wisdom dialogue stuff. There's nothing here and everything like that. But I'll tell you, the thought of actually having it revealed that in a sense way that nothing's here again, I've had that revealed one time, is so fearful. It's so funny. That's where the stubbornness comes in. So that's why we just relax and let the fear be worn away in time. That's why time is given to us. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on yourself to go through all your pain at once. Your pain is what you accumulated over time with the ego. And it's, as long as it's too fearful for you to go through the pain, you're not going to be going through the pain. And it's more painful the more you resist it and the longer you wait. I'll tell you that. The longer you wait to go through the pain, the more you resist it, the more painful and impossible it seems. But that's not really the case. I mean, there's also the possibility that none of this takes time for you and you just bust right through it, just from what I've seen from my experience, and especially from looking in my own mind, and also from talking to my friends and stuff. It's like these patterns will keep arising to show you stuff. And I just look at it like it's an adventure. If I'm called to go down a certain path where I'm setting myself up for something, and I know I don't really want that thing, I'm not afraid of that. Let's say, because of what it's for, because of what the calling is for. We could go for safety, security, all that kind of stuff. And that's like what a lot of people do, is just like go for, okay, how can I be safe and secure and make sure that nothing bad ever happens to me? And you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do about that. You could have the experience where you set yourself up to live this really boring life, but what'll happen? You'll get bored and you'll go out and you'll want to do something. You'll want to get that hit of that hormones, whatever it is. There's no such thing as hormones, but in the physical sense, it's like there's a hit of hormones. It hits the nervous system, and that thing is super addictive. Okay. So you try to protect yourself from all these different things. And meanwhile, you're projecting that there's stuff to be protected from. So that has to be made manifest in your experience. It has to be brought to light before you're going to see through this world. And, a lot of you don't want to see through this world. I mean, even in any way, there's like for a long time, what happens is people are not willing to see through it at all. And then there's a little bit of willingness to see through. Okay, I sense in myself, there's definitely willingness. I think there's a good deal of willingness to see through. And there's also an intense fear of losing its just reality as it seems, the reality that this nervous system is programmed to be reacting to. See? It's because it's like there's so much identity with that which is reacting to what you're projecting. There's so much identity with that. And, you know, I can sense it in the physical. You know, I learned something this week. I got this thing called Aura Lift. Okay, it's for your mouth. So it's this thing you put in your mouth, and you form it to your own teeth. So it's on your bottom teeth, and you sit there and you tap every time your top teeth hit the little thing that's sticking onto your bottom teeth. Okay, sticking up a little bit on your bottom teeth, and you tap a little thing every time they touched. And what I learned was, you know, apparently, according to this system, your top teeth and bottom teeth are never supposed to be meeting. That was really interesting to me. So I did that thing, and I wore the little thing in my mouth for like 20 minutes on another day. You just wear it in your mouth and you rest your mouth, and you keep your bottom and top, keep your top teeth off of that thing that's in your mouth, right? So I'm going, wow, what a trip. It's not that easy to keep my teeth off of that thing. Even when I'm paying attention to it, the jaw will just automatically like do a little click, like touch it, just touch it. Not like snap down hard, but just like touch it gently. And it's saying every one of those, even like a slight touch, they want you to record it. So, and so I looked into it some more. I started reading about it. So the way it trains your jaw is by doing those little tests and having you wear it sometimes, not that much. I say if you wear it too much, it'll be like overwear. It'll stress out all your facial muscles. That's interesting, huh? I don't know. But anyways, I noticed now, because I wore it 2 times, I notice now so much how just throughout the day, even when I have my tongue on the roof of my mouth, how it'll just go click, click. And I guess that's jaw clenching, even though you don't notice it because it's just a little tiny touch, just a little tiny touch. So I start to tune my attention into that and noticing that, and noticing every time, like I'll just sit there and watch, right? Eyes closed, whatever, doing something or watching TV or whatever. I don't really watch TV, but movies, whatever. Watching my my garden, watching my kids, talking to people. Well, not when you're talking, but even just right there, when I close my mouth, I notice a little click. So then there's this automatic tuning into this kind of jaw clenching. And every time I notice it do that little click and I tune into it, I notice a rush of energy come in at the jaw. It just kind of rushes in. And I just love that, because, you know, it's not like there's really a jaw or there's really any tension really, but tension is just symbolic. So there's these habits that we have of the way we're perceiving, and a lot of them go unobserved. But remember what I said about how the body is a complete projection of the mind. It's a complete projection. So it's like a roadmap to me. It's just like a roadmap. So I'm watching this, and I'm watching not so I could judge myself. Oh my God, I'm so tense or something. No, it's so that I can be released from whatever that is. Because in the moment, that's kind of like that. Well, it is basically, it's a miracle, because it establishes that whatever you're thinking right there that caused it to go click isn't true, because you're just allowing the release. You're just allowing the release. When it goes unrecognized, it's as if whatever is underlying that caused the little jaw tension goes as if it's true, because it wasn't recognized. See, that's what I mean. The body's a complete projection. It's reflecting everything that you think when you don't know you're thinking it. It's fucking awesome. And you know, it's known as a pain body for that reason, because it's just full of pain. I mean, the reflection is the fascia is like all these webs that have been weaved in a certain way to prop up this form. And when that fascia is weaved with tension, it becomes deformed. That's why aging is a kind of form of it's deformity. It's deformity. It comes on due to thought patterns unrecognized. That's why it seems inevitable, because it's thought patterns unrecognized. Now, you've probably heard that we're only using a small percentage of our brain. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's some really small percentage, probably 10 or less. But that's symbolic of we're unaware of like 90% of what we're making up, even when we're trying to be aware of some of it. We're unaware of it, but our body, it's like the body sense is it's a reacting sense. The sense that you gave yourself of a body is made of a structure of thought that's reacting to everything you project, and everything you perceive is everything you project. So there's nothing that seems to be there that you didn't put there for a very good reason. That's why when you think from the sense of, I don't want it like this, you're totally wrong. Because what you're getting a perception of is the past. You see only the past in your perception. You want to see what you've been projecting. You want to see what you've been making real for yourself in your mind. When you get the sense that you don't want to see it, that's an unreal thing. That's also a feeling you projected to try to deny yourself the feeling. Because that's the way out. That's the way through. That's the way through seeing and separation. So the ego is going to defend against that very strongly. Aloha, Pandita. Yay, my sister Pandita's on here. Ooh, I'm glad you joined. I saw your post. That was a fun one. 90% subconscious program, 10% conscious mind, though the conscious mind is 100 times more powerful than the subconscious mind. This from my sister, Pandita Weiler. Yay, thank you, Pandita. I love you. So Pandita had a really fun post. Huh, Pandita? Do you mind if I talk about it? You just let me know if you don't want me to, but I don't think you mind. So Pandita had a post. It was really sweet. Definitely, she was going through it. She's having trouble with our in-laws. Apparently, 2 or 3 of my brothers, I didn't catch what it was. 2 or 3 of my brothers have wives who apparently, according to Pandita, I don't have the post in front of me. Maybe Pandita can tell me more. They treat the brothers badly in some way. I forgot exactly what it was, how they're treating the wives are treating the brothers badly. And now the brothers are not allowed to hang out with my sister Pandita. This is the story, and this is Pandita's story. It's all stories, right? So that's what it really comes down to. So, I think a lot of people have had this kind of thing go on in their perception where, it seems, I mean, the feeling I get, like if I were to go, okay, this is my reality. And, notice that when someone has this as their reality, like if this is Pandita's reality, this is her reality. It's true for her. So, it seems like a sense like this is unfair, and, also those chicks are bitches, right? It's a sense like that. And here's the thing. When you're coming from a perspective where you want only healing and you only want to see through the world, okay, like you can have it however you want. Like I love everyone just the same, like however they want to have it is cool with me. But say you're focused on seeing through this world, like that's your main priority, that's your main objective. and you get something like that, you get a perception like that, like this is unfair. I want to be able, gosh, the reason why I moved out here is so that I could be close to my brothers. And now my sisters-in-law are preventing them from seeing me. This is so fucked up. And, that's kind of like the way, I project the story out there. I know I project the whole Pandita and the whole story and everything. And thank you for playing with me, Pandita. And so if you have a situation, you probably are projecting a situation like that now, or you have, or you're gonna, or you can help someone else who's in it. Okay, so the thing is gentleness. Like if you could see gentleness around this, because what goes on here is a judgment. Okay, at first there's a judgment projected. Something's fucked up about them. There's a judgment projected. You don't have to say it. No one has to say anything. You could be the sweetest fucker you ever saw. Okay, but you in your heart hold a judgment that they're not the way they should be in some way, shape, or form. That's always coming back at you. And that's the only way it can come back at you. Hear this if you want to see through it and have harmony. It absolutely can't come back to you, can't come back onto you as like this negative feeling, this sense like something is wrong, this sense that like someone fucked up, someone's doing it wrong, anything like that. It cannot come on to you. Even if you get the perception of someone making you wrong, it doesn't stick to you because you don't have that. You have to have that to be at play in order to even be at play. Okay. So, it's very tempting in a moment like this. It's very tempting to project. I know the temptation. Because it's like, oh yeah, that just proves it. These chicks they were fucked up all along. I knew it. I judged them like fucked up, and there they were. And now my brothers don't talk to me because they're a couple of pussies. I love the ego's play. I'll let it play. I don't mind. It's just that it's just getting hooked by it is a different thing. You get hooked by it when you can't laugh at it. When you're not laughing and you're not at play with it, you're hooked. When you have a sense like you want vengeance, you're hooked. When you want someone to learn something, you're hooked. See? We just get hooked all the time. It's fun. My friend and most amazing yoga teacher I ever seen, Kristen Coyle. She did an awesome demonstration of this week on Facebook. She had some post on Facebook that said something about non-acceptance. It's fine if you do whatever you want with your body, but if you don't do this, I don't accept you. Something wrong. I'm paraphrasing, something like that. Something about you're not acceptable if you're doing this, which is like about half of the population is doing this thing. It has to do something with abortion, pro or con. I don't fucking know, but it doesn't matter. I'm guessing it's pro, or I don't know. I don't know if they like to be called pro-abortion if they're pro-abortion. I think they like to be called whatever. I don't think they like to be called pro telling you what to do if they're saying you can't get an abortion either. Both things are funny. But anyways, the next thing you know, she gets a message in her inbox from someone telling her to just punch herself in the stomach. And, she must have been for pro-abortion side, whatever you guys want to call that. It's like, but I guess if you punch yourself in the stomach, then you can have an abortion that way. I guess that's what he was alluding to. But then he said, thank goodness for people who would protect newborns or protect babies or something like that. Infants, what are they called? Fetuses. Life is so not sacred. It just makes me laugh. All right. So anyways, it's hilarious. It's all because of what it's all for, you guys. I can't stress that enough. It's like, there's nothing here. So, so, you're getting the sense that these babies are getting killed, these infants are being killed. That's not a reality. That's not a reality. It's just something that you're projecting. Whenever you're perceiving, you're projecting, right? There's not even a, what is it called? Is objective world. Is that the right word? Objective world, where there's actually a world. It's a world of perception. So no one's dying. There's no such thing as death. There's no such thing as birth. This is actually a trajectory on thought. Okay, so anyways, the dude says that to her, and then she does a post where she takes a picture of it and puts it up on Facebook, and she asks someone to report that guy. I guess he's bullying, and a bunch of people are commenting and saying how he's bullying and stuff like that. And so I look at it, I look at the picture and I go, oh my goodness. And then I laughed so hard. I was like, of course. It says something about non-acceptance. That's the reflection. Okay, so you feel attacked. That's it. It's perfect. You feel attacked if you don't accept. As soon as you don't accept, you feel attacked. So I told my friend, it's like, I go, yeah, me too. Like whenever I don't accept, whenever I project non-acceptance, I feel attacked. Same thing occurs to me. Whenever I project non-acceptance, I feel attacked too. It's instant manifestation. So it's not like saying you deserve him saying that to you. No, my friend gets it. This is a really good friend of mine. I was started out talking about my friends, and now awesome. When I said that, she laughed too, and she said setting the target. And I didn't even think of that, but that's a great way to say it. As soon as you go, if you're like this, if you think this way, then you're not acceptable. You set yourself up for attack. That's how it is. So if you don't want to set yourself up for attack, then don't believe that thought. Just don't believe it. If you don't believe it, you won't express it. You won't post something like that. If you don't believe in the thought, you wouldn't post it. So my friend is brilliant, because it's like all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, of course. And then that neutralizes the whole play. So my friend can see. If it goes unseen, then it's got to extend time. You need time to play it out if it goes unseen. But once it's seen, it's a different story. It's a different scenario. So you change your mind about what you're willing to see. What are you willing to see? Because it'll be revealed to you. Like, oh yeah, if I feel like I'm attacked or like something's unfair, I made a mistake. Like that's like time for me to have my mind healed. The way I put it is you ask for correction. Don't trust what you think you see. It's not reality. And that being said, you will trust what you think you see to the extent that you don't realize that it's unreal. You're not realizing, you're not seeing that it's unreal. It's always being held out to you that it's unreal. That awareness is always being held out to you. It's not like it's being hidden from you, but you have defensiveness that prevents you from seeing it. And so whenever you find yourself like thinking someone's an asshole or anything like that, thinking they're sick, no one's sick. That's an attack on yourself too. It's like the version of yourself that you made with the ego is a murderer. It wants everyone dead. That's why it would perceive him as sick. Okay. So it's like, if you want to play along with the game of sickness, then you have to forsake seeing through the world. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want to play along with that and pretend like someone's sick? Or do you want to see through the world? You're the one who taught him how to act sick. See? Doesn't really mean anything when you perceive sickness. Oh, I got a story for my friend too. She is amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked. Speaking of friends that are amazing, one of my friends was, uh, you know, thinking that COVID was actually a real thing for, the beginning of COVID, thinking that COVID was actually a real thing. She's wearing a mask. She didn't understand why I was saying stuff, why I was going around, and started a comedy group. She's like, I don't even recognize you right now. But, she was really cool. She goes, I guess that's really good for me right now, though. I go, yep, it sure is. It's going to be good for you. So then, coming back around and getting back together again, it's kind of like she's like, thank you so much for doing all that stuff and going around and sharing the information and everything like that. So then she's boning up with this dude, and he gets a sniffle and goes and tests positive for COVID. So she calls me up, or she writes me and calls me, and whatever she said it. She's like, you know what? I don't notice any fear about it. That I just don't notice any fear. And then a couple days later, she's like, yeah, so I got some sniffles and I got a sore throat and stuff, but I just kept reminding myself there's no way I could have caught it from him. There's no way it's a reality. And she goes, you know what? It just really didn't get intense. It just stayed pretty chill. It's a temptation. We see a symptom and become afraid. You don't have to be afraid of any symptom, even if it goes to mass detox. That's one way of looking at it. Even if it goes into mass detox mode, where like gallons of shit is coming out of your face, you lose 50 pounds, I don't know, you get a bunch of diarrhea, whatever. It's all for your benefit. So if you would be willing to see that it's all for your benefit, and there it is again, it's like, do you want to see through this world, or do you want to pursue sickness? That's the thing. You're not going to mind if you're demonstrating some symptoms of sickness. You're not going to mind if that's the expression, because within the expression, you are demonstrating to your own mind that these sick symptoms are being projected by you. That's what you need them for. So you can demonstrate through the manifestation that it's not a reality. So the manifestation is going to keep coming until you're able to see right through it. So it can't even be presenting itself as a manifestation, as a perceived reality, because it can only present itself as a perceived reality while you're holding a certain vibration. Isn't that so fun? It's like you don't have to act out any patterns except the patterns that are going to bring you the most maximally beneficial results. Those are the ones there, you're only playing the ones that are going to bring you to exactly what you need. And when you're willing to see it like that, no matter what situation you seem to find yourself in, you're going to see the little glimmers in it, where you'll find your thread of bliss, your way in to perceiving like a master. Basically, you just allow things to be really held in a gentleness. Oh, a judgment comes up. My brothers, sisters are a couple of bitches. It's laughable. It's just funny. It doesn't make any sense. And it's funny. I made every bit of which I seem to see. So of course I'm sweet to everyone. I'm naturally fond of everyone. They're doing it all for me. And that's why a thought crosses my mind that they're bitches. It doesn't get play. It doesn't get any kind of play. It's just funny. It's comical. It's like the ego being comical. Remember, the ego wants to kill everyone. It wants to murder everyone. Anyone you get close to and not close to. You get a perception and it's like you want to kill them. That's what judgment is. It's death. It sentences you to death because there is no one out there. But it's like that. You want to kill them. And, when I say there is no one out there, oh man, people get confused all the time. And I think that is so fun. I cleared it up with someone at the market this weekend. She was like, I don't, and she goes, sorry, okay, let me put it to you like this. Let's look at it like this. Because when I say there's nothing, there's no one here, I see why, people would get confused when I say that, because it's kind of like narcissistic. It's like, you don't even exist. I just made you. It's not like that at all. It's not like you don't exist. I just made you. It's like, you are reality. You're my reality. You are my reality. What I made of you is not my reality. See, and you're not outside of me. But when we're interacting, we're communicating too, right? Beneath the interacting isn't the real communication. Like if I'm buying eggs from you, or we're talking about something, whatever, that's not the real communication. The interacting is on the surface, and the communication is beneath that, where I'm willing to see through projections that are naturally launched toward you from the ego's mind. That's all. Don't believe them. That's love. See, that's how love is revealed. It gets shown to you. That's how you make a connection. That's how you're connected with people. So you see how you can connect to even world leaders. Like if you're one of the people who's going through it right now with regard to world leaders, noticing that you have a launch thought toward a world leader or someone or something. You see a celebrity and you really don't like what they're saying, whatever they're talking about, and you're like, fuck those guys, why don't they just be an actor or something like that? Watching those, you can start communicating with those people, which is basically communicating with yourself, because you're interacting with them anyways. If whenever they cross your mind, you think a shitty thought about them, you're interacting with them. You're not communicating with them. You're interacting with them in a way that's projecting, and it's only projecting onto yourself. So you can start communicating with them in that by allowing yourself to feel the effects of what you're trying to give to them. It's never going to touch them. It doesn't leave your mind. Okay, so whatever you're trying to give to them, you're resisting feeling it for yourself. So you can come into a real sweet fondness of even anyone who seems to be a murderer to you or anything like that, because that's the real interpretation. The real interpretation shows you that there's no separation and it's only love. And that's why it's called communication, because it restores our mind, our shared mind, to sanity. Okay, that's a healing every single time. So that's the thing about making miracles. It's like all the time we're getting opportunities for miracles. All the time. You just, as you're forgiving those thoughts that come up about your brother or sister or situation or the dog or your house or anything, remember, you're in relating with anything, you have an opportunity to also communicate with it. Person, place, thing, situation, all the same. And making them all the same. So it was funny because I kept on seeing the number 666. It's really great because my mom was just telling me, oh my gosh, Hope, I have been seeing the number 888. And then she's like, I looked it up and I'm going to be rich. And I was like, oh, awesome. And she said, I'm going to give you $1 million. I'm like, thanks. So then I start seeing, and I'm not like on the lookout for this stuff, but it's like, okay, that's enough. All right, I've seen it a bunch of times now. What is this thing? What is this 666 thing? And, it's, so I looked it up. I said, okay, look it up. Angel number 666. And it's about, seeing through the idea that it's not projected by me. I mean, when I looked everything up, that was what stood out to me. There's a lot of stuff. It's ridiculous, all the stuff. But it's, whatever you're relating with, like if you're typing online and you type in, okay, what is the spiritual meaning of 666? whatever it is that you're being drawn to, that's perfect. That's what the Holy Spirit is using. So it is like, whatever it is, that's it. You don't have to question it or anything like that. You see, you get a certain resonance with something. So it's like you're allowing the Spirit to speak to you through these symbols. So you'll have a certain resonance with it, kind of like when it's like, okay, that's the one that I want to express to you. And you know, a lot of it is back off from any kind of trying to work things out, trying to figure things out and stuff like that. It was all about relaxing, letting the Spirit take the wheel, stuff like that. And I sense that, you know, there's it's so fun because I've been sensing that there seems to be this drive for me to think a lot more about my business because it's in a downsizing phase right now. So there's been like this pull to think about, or it seems to be in a downsizing phase. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? It is very freaking interesting, and nothing's happening. That's why it's like, who knows what's going to happen, because it's a trajectory just for healing. So as it seems to be in a downsizing phase, it seems to like really need me to do something. And I'm noticing the guidance, and like all weekend, it was like, no, it was a big no. And then this morning, it was still like really chill on it. There was a little bit of activity, but not much. So it's kind of like it gets brought in as confirmation. And you know, it's just always, you're always just interacting with yourself with the information. It's kind of like confirmation. It's kind of like a permission slip. It's okay. You can just relax and be guided by Spirit, even if that means you're not doing a bunch of shit that it seems like you should be doing. What do I fucking know? I don't know. So letting it come down to the moment. And that's what it's really showing me, because you know, that's to me, that could be the most scary thing. It's just to let things, okay, it seems like it really needs you. That's what I notice is a habit of mine. It seems like it really needs me. Okay, it really needs me now. Okay, ooh, I better get on it. But you know, it's been occurring to me, what if I just sit still through this and just watch what happens too? So it's interesting to see how that plays, because I don't have a choice in however I seem to express whatever I seem to do. But I'm gonna just use it all, whatever whatever it seems to be. And you know, the main thing is to allow when there's not activity, to be not activity without guilt. And that's something that, you know, when we're given something like that, we're given it for the world. You could say it's for the whole world, because we taught the whole world to feel guilty and not allow themselves to just follow their inner guidance. The guilt causes us to not follow our inner guidance and lean to our own understanding as far as what we seem to be choosing to do. And now I'm having an intermission because I'm going to change into something that's much cooler than this. I'll be right back. Whoa. All right, I'm back. Something much cooler. The hot season is upon us. Nael, you're so sweet. I know you want to look, I know you want to see through this world. I'm so happy. Look at my hotness. Thanks, Akea. Thank you, baby. Oh, yeah. So funny because I have the most judgmental eye on myself that you would ever see. But you know what? Even that is like held so sweetly. It's like automatic. It just comes out. And I just like am light with it. I just allow it to be what it is. Like whatever I think I see, I just allow that to be what it is and embrace the feeling sensation and get relief. So here's the thing, what we normally go through is this sense like it's a hopeless case, because you'll get the perception of like aging or some kind of deformity that's taking place. Aging is a deformity, I say that again. Some kind of deformity that's taking place, and think of it as completely hopeless. And it's thinking that makes it manifest in the first place. So, you know, when you look at it and think this is hopeless, and look at this goes on underneath the surface. A lot of you guys don't even know you're doing it. That's why I like to look at the body's cues, not, you know, on other people so much. I mean, I recognize them, of course, but mostly for myself. So I could see what my body's cues are, as far as like, where is it? Because this is a symbolic thing, right? It's a symbolic thing. There's a cue that it'll do, like where I just learned about the clenching that goes unnoticed all the time because you're not biting down hard or hurting yourself or anything, but it is an action in the jaw that's a tightening. So it's like a tightening thing. That tightening is symbolic of a thought that's tightening. It's like tension, making tension in the energy field. So that's a symbol, right? So when we're watching like this, it's different. It's not like we're going, oh, well, that's what happens, you know? So anything that I seem to see, and we're only seeming to see, anything that I seem to see that seems like deformity, that looks like aging or anything like that, I know that whenever that crosses my mind, I'm having a reaction. Whenever it even crosses my mind, like I was just, what was I walking through a store? I don't remember, but just noticing it just occurred to me, God, getting old sucks. And just having the thought cross my mind, it's like, thank you. These are not personal. These thoughts circulate the mind. They come to everyone. A lot of people don't even know they're thinking the thought because it'll occur to them and it's so automatically believed it's not even. But, you know, people wonder why they go through the day and start getting, you know, kind of grumpy, tense, noticing aches and pains. And that's the thing, because it's this automatic believing in things that aren't true. Thing is, when you get the perception of aging, the only reason you're getting the perception of that is because you have the power to resolve it. You're not making a perception of anything that you didn't trick yourself into making a perception of. You're tricking yourself into this perception. And, you know, it doesn't matter to me if I get the perception of this body getting all old and wrinkly, just like a normal fucking body might, and then go into the ground. It doesn't matter to me if I get the perception of my body like that. I'm not a body, I'm a mind. I'm going to hold the truth in sight as best I can, no matter what I seem to see. That's all. The goal is to hold the truth up, uphold the truth, no matter what I seem to see. It's not to end up looking like a 20 or 30 or 40-year-old. Okay. That's what it's for. It's for seeing through the illusion. A big part of the illusion, this is where it gets caught up, where people think it's vanity or something. No, a big part of the illusion is getting you tricked into thinking that aging is normal. It's not normal. Sickness and aging and death are not normal. These are things that we're projecting. So I love that I get the sense, and I get the sense that my mind is super self-critical. Let's say it like that. It's a form of judgment. It's a form of judgment. Self-critical. Okay. And I just laugh when I get the perception. It's so funny. It's like, I know how beautiful I am. I know. And yet I still get triggered in these perceptions. And I'm so grateful that I do, because every time I get triggered, I can see through it more and help everyone in my world also see through this perception. And as far as the solutions, they come on their own. I don't have to concern myself with that. They just come on their own. Certain solutions, certain things seem to work. Maybe they seem to work for a time and then they go away and something else comes in. But, something seems to be working, but nothing really works. It's all the unconditioning, the unconditioning. That's what allows, the unconditioning of death, of sickness. That's what's going to allow projection that's clean. It's like it's clean and it's fed and it's nutrients. It's funny because the tissue projects like that. Like old age tissue is not getting fed the nutrients that it needs. It's blocked off. So basically, when you're not allowing that love and compassion for yourself in the moment because you think you know what's going on, like if you think you know what's going on in the world, you're fucked for feeling. I mean, you're just going to feel like shit whenever you think you know what's going on. Because if it's like that, if it's like you think it is, then it's bleak. Existence is bleak if it's like you think it is. What is we just go and collect dead bodies over and over again? We just do that for eternity. That's how it is. I've heard people say that God chose to do this because it was so much more fun than eternity. Right. It's so much more fun because in eternity, you're not doing anything. And it's like, well, in eternity, you're not doing anything either. You're just getting the perception that you're doing something. And, in eternity, you're creating in eternity now. And you don't have to do anything because you just create. Okay. Here in a perceptual world, your creative power boils down to a choice. It's just a choice between making this world real or willingness to see through the unreality, this facade that you made. So I love it when it has something to do with interpersonal conflict. I love that stuff because I just think it's so fun. It tends to be gripping until it's not gripping anymore, until it's just not gripping anymore. Like personal conflict is just like, don't go there. Don't you think these people over here are really fucked up? No, they're good. I put them there like that. I set them up like that. Don't you think that government, they shouldn't be, what are they doing now? I don't know. Shouldn't be overturning Roe v. Wade. No, it's perfect. Whatever anyone seems to do, it's perfect for me. Someone is pissed at me because everything's perfect for me. That's also perfect for me. Hey, I don't like you, Hope. That's gaslighting. Is it gaslighting? I don't know. I don't like you. That's gaslighting. Or what's the other one that people, it's narcissistic. It's narcissistic or it's gaslighting or something like that when you just say that everything's okay. Okay, that's okay too. Yes. So my son told me, I told him I was going to come hang out while he's at work. He said, no, I don't want you to. I'm like, oh, okay, I won't go then. He's like, that's the last thing I need is you over there saying nothing's real in my bar, at the bar. And then telling him about block therapy. Kaleos, he's working at Kaleos. And he's sending out, he's cruising around with applications for a bunch of different places. I thought that was so cute. One day, Akea, I have a feeling he's going to be like, this is my mom. Isn't she fucking awesome? Look at her. She knows it's not real. That's what you do, okay? You say, yeah, I hear my mom is awesome. She knows it's not real. That's awesome. What fun. One of the first things people start getting anxious about when they hear this kind of stuff is, well, what do you tell a person? Like, what if their baby just died? Or what if they just lost their whole pension in their retirement that they were depending on? What do you tell someone like that? And it's like, no, that's an escape for you right now. That question, what do you tell someone like that? That's an escape for you to prevent you from accepting it, to prevent you from your willingness. It's to make an excuse. Like, what would you tell someone like that? You're going to know what to say to the person in the moment because it just comes out. You don't have to, that doesn't matter. Forget about those questions. They're just preventing you. You don't have to concern yourself with what you're going to tell someone else. You have no healing to offer anyone unless you've received it for yourself. So, it's like receive the teaching for yourself, and then what you tell other people will be expressed for you. I'm just doing block therapy, as I say here. On my back. It's constant. It's like just automatic. Basically, in case anyone's curious, what does she mean? I'm just sitting here doing block there. I call it block therapy. You can call it something else. Block asana, that's another word. I have blockasana.com. If you go to blockasana.com, you can see 3 exercises that I did so far, exercise videos. If you call it an exercise, it's a relaxing practice, kind of like meditation and massage at the same time. So the back of this chair is wooden and my shoulders are loving it. So basically it's like it's compression. It's a way of compressing. And yeah, I love, love, love to spend my time releasing sensed tension in the body. I think it's the most productive use of time. It's like the spirit, the experiences are coming. You can't help whether you're doing block therapy or not. But it's like when you see it that way, you allow it for yourself. And when you allow it for yourself, you're getting all these releases and you're demonstrating to your mind again and again. Because when you're having a release, like a release of muscular tension, something else is going on in your observation other than what you're using to hurt yourself. You can't really be using something to hurt yourself and be releasing tension at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I've been known to spend 7 or 8 hours a day in releasing tension. And why not? The tension of the entire world is projected right onto my body. All the tension in the world, the world is projected world. All the tension in the world projected on my body first. The body sense gets a first projection. First, there's a sense you are a body, and there's a projection of stress and tension onto that. And then out of that manifests a world that seems to be stressed out and tired of this shit. Yeah. The world's just waiting for each of us because each of us is the Christ in our world. The world is just waiting for each of us to accept our function in this world, which is just allowing healing to be made manifest. through everything, through every interaction, through everything we seem to do. It's not in the manifestation again. So it's not about managing what you do, but being in observation of what you seem to do and how you seem to react to what you do. So defensiveness came up this week. It was really potent the way it came through. One of my friends was asking me, why do I keep on doing this? Why do I keep on having sex with all these different guys and then people are upset? I seem to have released all my guilt. Seems like I'm having a lot of fun with it. Well, first of all, if you release all of your guilt and you're having fun with it, then what's the question all about? Right? But I keep on getting this perception. It's this perception like you hurt people, like you hurt someone. See? So it's the defensiveness. It was automatically, like when she asked the question, it was shown to me automatic defensiveness. It's the defensiveness. It's kind of like that, one of those hits of hormones, to the nervous system, that defensiveness. So it's like she's even going through and picking a partner, apparently picking a partner, and that's a setup for this defensiveness that's coming down the pipe. So it seems like you're going for this really fun sexual experience, which, you're probably having fun and it's probably awesome. And it's a setup for what's to come. They're playing our pattern. What's to come is this sense like you cause other people harm, you cause other people pain. Now, you did not cause other people harm. That's not possible. They got exactly the perception they needed. From their point of view, they need that experience. It's not like that. But you're getting the perception that someone was hurt by you is symbolic that you are hurting yourself. So this is how we do a lot. Okay. We will be made to play out in a way that we think is fun and neat and stuff. And over again, it keeps on showing us this is a setup for something we don't like. We don't like feeling like we hurt someone. We don't like that. So when we feel, because you know why we don't like it? Because we hurt ourselves. And if our heart is really hardened to where we like hurting, we think we like hurting someone, it's because we don't want to see that we're hurting ourselves. They are very blocked, much defensiveness going on there. So, of course, if you're getting the perception that someone's being hurt by you, that's a sign that you're hurting yourself. When you go down this trajectory of, oh, this is so fun, I'm having another sexual encounter. Ooh, well, watch, just watch, because, again, you don't have a choice in it, but it's so that you can be defensive on the other side. See, until you'll see that you are doing that to yourself, until you're willing to see that that's what you're doing to yourself, whatever you're perceiving, their reaction, that's what you're doing to yourself. Okay. It's not exactly their reaction, but it's your reaction to their reaction. Okay. That's what you're doing to yourself. That's what you're using it for. So they and you're in a dance, you're playing together. Cora, nice to hear from you. Oh, Cora was fun. Cora, we had a fun convo on Facebook. She was telling me about how she thought she might be bothering me. And I get that from people sometimes. I think it's really funny. That is not possible. For one thing, you are not going to be bothering me. If I'm not called to respond to you, I just won't respond to you. Or if I'm called to respond to you at a later time or look at it at a later time or whatever, that's just how it's going to be. Sometimes I'll look at it and bounce off to something else and then come back. Whatever it is, That's just what it is. I don't have any obligation on myself. So if I was obligated somehow, if I felt obligated or defensive in some way, then you could bother me. I would be giving you the power to bother me. But one thing Cora brought up too, it's real common for us to think that we're burden on our families because we're emotional. Okay. The people going through a spiritual awakening are going to go through an emotional period, a highly emotional period. Okay. Where people might think you're crazy. People might think you're freaking crazy. So the thing with that is hold all that gently. It's just the same as anything else. Really what we're getting to here is to see everything equally. That was one of the things I got out of that 666 message. Seeing everything as equal, all the situation, all the people, all that kind of stuff, seeing everything as equal, right? Because then nothing has to stand out as something that's especially important. It's just all completely equal. However it goes, whatever direction something goes, that's equal. So, you're just having a willingness to see that this is the way it is. It's all, you're generalizing everything kind of like into one basket. This is all illusion. Only love is real. Let me receive the gift that you're sharing with me. Whenever it seems like someone's against you, or if they're upset, if they seem like they're upset by you, like my friend who people have trouble with her having sex with the wrong people at the wrong time, let's say. When people have trouble and she gets a perception of that, it's to be gentle with that too. Because look, this is what's not gentle: defensive thoughts. So the defensive thought would say, well, they should have had their relationship intact anyways. That's a judgment call. Okay, that's judgment. That doesn't mean anything. Judgment, let the judgment go. And you start to open up more and more to the compassion that's there for you. Because whenever you're projecting a scenario where someone else seems to be hurt by you, it doesn't feel good. It might feel good to a heavily invested ego, but that's only setting you up for more time, more pain, and more time too. You don't have to make your mind quiet. The mind's chaotic. It's okay. It could just be chaotic and be held gently in the chaos. It is chaos. It's a chaotic world. It's amazing. Doesn't make any sense. See people suffering because they try to make sense over the world of the world. It's like as if, let's say someone's in a custody situation. I had someone write to me this week about something like that. And it's a custody situation. And the partner is apparently, this is their side of the story, lying about everything, lying to the judge, keeping them from seeing their kid, not giving the kids letters or gifts. And yeah. And so there's all this suffering. And how do I go in there without being overwhelmed by emotion? And it's like, you got to be willing to see that this is a gift. It's just the willingness to see, to change the way you're looking at it. Because, it's like for years, you built this image up of your partner like they're the enemy. So when you go in there and they're like the enemy, they're not going to be gentle with you because that's not being gentle with them. See, you're not grateful to them for doing exactly what they seem to be doing. They're going to feel that. And it's like, well, how can I have gratitude? Well, certain thoughts lead to gratitude. I don't understand anything I see. That's one right there. I don't understand anything that I'm looking at right now. And that'll take, that's like taking the thought that's occurring to you right now. This is a threat. And it's occurring to you that this is a threat if you feel upset. Thought that occurs to you that you feel upset is taken to the truth rather than projecting forward when you just take it to the thought. I'm not making sense of anything here. I got it wrong. I need a new interpretation. This is something someone asked me the day before he's going to court, though. You know, if you're practicing this over time, you're going to show up in court and it's a no-brainer. But, you know, just to think you're going to get it in one, okay, I'll tell you, these are the kinds of thoughts. The thing is, it's a progression. Usually, who knows, you may just get it in one shot, but it's a progression usually, because of the way we've wrapped ourselves up in story. It's possible that this person could be so deep in story that they hear this and go, oh, I release all of that right now. What the fuck was I thinking? But that wasn't the case here. He still went in there looking at her like she's a threat. You'd know if you went in there in gratitude. You wouldn't be able to see her as a threat no matter what she was doing. You'd be so grateful. Thank you. I love you. You'd be burning through some really intense feelings really fast. It would be the equivalent, you know, when you're that wrapped up, to see through that all the way to gratitude. It takes burning through a lot of intense energy that you set up. It's the equivalent of like taking the block and forcefully screwing it into your head through a bunch of pain, right? Taking a wooden block and like crushing your skull with it, as opposed to going incrementally where it feels really nice, but it just gradually and gently releases and opens up. See, it's like that. Like we try to be so hard on ourselves. It's like, in the first place, show up at court with willingness to feel, a little bit of willingness to see, and watch how it goes without an attachment to the outcome. You know, you at some point go, okay, I'm only here for observing. I'm not really doing anything else. I just trick myself into thinking I'm doing something else. And then in that, I put myself on a path that leads to a bunch of mayhem that I don't need. Of course, if you get it, you need it. Love the mayhem. We used to go in Korean yoga where we punch ourselves a bunch of times. We would punch ourselves in the stomach. If that dude wrote to me and told me punch yourself in the stomach, I'd be like, good idea. I'm going to go practice that right now. And we do it while chanting, I love my pain. I love my pain. I love my pain. And, you know, that might sound like something that's intense to people who haven't practiced it before. But you know what? It actually feels good to access and release pain. You don't have to hit yourself so hard that it hurts and you're going, whoo, taking your breath away or anything. You actually do it with a breath that's smooth. So, you know, and that's really hard for people starting out, because you got this pounding motion and you're trying to make a smooth, long, deep breath that's not forced or anything. So, yeah, you get that thing going and you get it vibrating, and it's amazing. And you'll feel some pain come up, but you're also feeling it be released. And, you know, that's really kind of like what Jesus was talking about when he said he'd rather you be hot or cold than lukewarm, right? It's like, if you don't have some kind of pain coming up, you're avoiding it, because this is a pain situation. This is a painful situation. Okay. Finding yourself as if you're in a body that's on a trajectory toward aging, sickness, and death is a painful situation. So it manifests as pain. Okay. So if you're not accessing the pain, you're building the pain. And that's why he'd rather you be hot or cold than lukewarm, because you're accessing something. Okay. You're accessing something. And maybe you're accessing no pain, but you're completely bound up. Okay. You're accessing something. But when you're accessing, what normally happens is you're accessing a little bit of the pain, just a little bit, just enough to get that hit. And then projecting it forward. Okay. That's the lukewarm part of it. It's like, I'll just stay here with just a little bit, So it doesn't even get interesting. The pain doesn't even get interesting. You know, you want it to be interesting. Get into it. And then everything softens. It's the same in the body sense as it is in the mental sense. When you'll focus, you know, when you'll focus your awareness on what you're feeling, it's just so simple like that. Focus your awareness on what you're feeling. And any feeling you don't like, you do not have to keep the thought that props it up. That means you don't have to keep the feeling either, because you don't have to keep the thought that props it up. So when you're aware, hey, this feeling isn't worthy of me, I can have a better feeling. That's really all it takes to, you know, wear away at that thought until it's resolved completely. And that's how it looks in the body sense too. All those mountains of tension, you start going into them, and gradually over time, it wears away until the tension is no more. But, you know, it's symbolic. There is no tension, there is no body, and you don't have to work through all the tension in the body to see through it either. That's not the case. There is no tension in the first place. So there's not a bunch to work through, but when you access it, it reveals to your mind that what you're using to prop that up is meaningless. You wouldn't keep it. That's how the mind knows it's meaningless, because you wouldn't keep it. You wouldn't keep that tension. You would give it up. You demonstrated to your own mind that you wouldn't keep that tension. You would give it up. So let's apply that to the illusion of aging. You get the sense, and this occurs to people all the time, especially when you hit around 50 and stuff like that, and older than that, maybe even younger than that. Let's go to 30, okay? Because I think it happens like people really young. And, you know, you get the perception just that it sucks. Whenever you perceive aging, you are not neutral about it, because you know it's unworthy of you. You know it. You are not neutral about it. There's a body reaction whenever you get the perception aging crosses your mind. You don't even notice it, but when you go out in the world and you look at old faces, you're reacting like a motherfucker. That is not right. That's not your reality. It's something that is an abomination on who you are. So if you would be willing to see that, that's all. It's like, it's playful. It's like, would you keep that? Would you keep that? No, I wouldn't. Thank goodness I can be relieved from it. You know, you might not even notice. You go around and you see a bunch of old faces, and you start projecting, and you start feeling like shit because you didn't get any release from that, you know. And when you realize, oh yeah, it seemed like aging was real, you'll just be released from that idea that it's real. It's all propped up and propped up again and again and again and again and again. It's like over and over again, it's just getting propped up. I started seeing myself younger. I love it. Age is just a state of mind. I am released. Yes, you are. There is no such thing as it. We just built these we've built these imaginary bodies based on misbelief. Yes, changing isn't real. That's right, Cora. That's right. And the body in its pristine, true sense is a light body. Okay, so it doesn't have any tension, doesn't have any density, doesn't have any skin cancer. My son was telling me, you know, I've had this thing going on in my arm apparently for like, I don't know how many years, maybe 4 years. It was pretty much just chills out there. Sometimes it does different things. Anyway, it's really sore right now because I was blocking it, right? So it was blocking my arm. This is where I take a wooden block and I get on it. And when it was right around that area, it started burning. It felt like it was a fire, like someone was holding a fire to it. Now I've been at it for a while, going at, sensing the pain in the body sense. So when I felt that burning, I was like, ah, yes, some people might back off, and that's fine. You don't have to, definitely don't want to address it all at once, but just noticing, oh yeah, it's like there's a projection of pain underneath everything that we see as a deformity of, something that's just like popping up like this in any around, a deformity. So underneath every deformity, even if you don't notice it right away, and I've been working on my arms, the blocks a little bit, it's a manifestation of pain, and the pain can be released. And when you're looking at it in terms of physical pain that you can feel, remember, it's always fear. Like fear causes everything. Fear causes every kind of deformity. And the thing that it's causing, though, doesn't exist. So that means every kind of deformity could be resolved also in an instant, with no process or anything. It's just that we don't have the faith for that, or I should say, I don't have the faith for that at this point. That's why I don't see it just go dink. There seems to be some kind of process, and that's fine with me too. I don't mind. The process is for awakening. See, it just all gets used. I mind my own density. That's a big thing. It's like, I don't think that I should be further along than where I am. And that's one thing that sets me apart from a lot of people, because people always believe that they should be further ahead than where they are, or different than what they're doing or how they do it. Or, like you should be disappointed if you forget something, or if you weren't mindful or something. There's just everything like that. It's all a setup. It's all just a setup. So it's like a radical self-forgiveness. It's and in the true sense of the word, you didn't do anything. You're learning things. Okay? You're learning how to recognize the truth. Let's say that. So it looks like my essential oil company, Miracle Botanicals, is going to be downsizing. Isn't that so fun? Sales just didn't come. And then notice that, of course, the sales I don't have are the sales I don't need. And then noticing that I got an email from another essential oil company that I'm subscribed to, and they're doing 30% off plus 18 bottles of essential oils when you spend $100. I've never seen any kind of discount that deep before. I've never seen anything like that. It's very interesting. It seems like we're headed for more like farmers market vibes. We're still going to have our online store. I think we're still going to have our online store, at least for the moment. It looks like that. We're still going to have our online store where you guys can buy essential oils. We're probably going to have a sale where we get rid of a bunch of essential oils. We might not be restocking some of our essential oils because we have a huge line. So if you're looking for some Miracle Botanicals, you might want to get in on it soon. Probably be running a sale somewhere down the road here. We'll see what's up. Anyways, miraclebotanicals.com, check that out. I'm obsessed with your essential oil, Liberty. Are you doing picking up your nose? Are you doing picking up your nose? What in the world did you say? What are you putting up your nose? Oh, poo kene kene. All the way up my nose. Let me see. This is poo kene kene. It came from the garden. Anne always gets me some poo kene kene as she's coming in. It's so sweet. I love smelling things, as you can tell. The essential oils has just been perfect for me. I've just loved it. And you know, I'm willing to release it entirely too. It's like I'm just watching how things are transpiring and seeing how I'm moved to go. You know what? Another thing that I noticed today that was really interesting is I got an email about a loan offer, and it had all these things to qualify for a loan offer. No e-commerce. Isn't that interesting? I was like, oh, no e-commerce. They don't want a loan to you if you're in e-commerce. Things that make you go. Did you hear about the Google tech that was working with artificial intelligence project? And did you hear about Google tech who was working with artificial intelligence project and quit his job because he thinks the AI is becoming sentient. Oh my goodness. Well, what fun. And you know, we're constantly hearing of different things that are like a threat and stuff like that. You cannot be threatened by anything. It doesn't matter if it's like a computer thing, if it's AI, you cannot be threatened by anything. The thing is, if you can be made fearful, then you are being controlled. Whenever you're made fearful, you're controlled by the ego. And will you look for the charger? I forgot about that. I think it's on that desk that was to the left of Tony's computer. The big white one that's close to the printer. My low battery. Oh, you like the Liberty essential oil. That is so fun. Yay. I love that one. That one came out when I was doing activism. Liberty essential oil blend for, you know, a clear mind while expressing that freedom is the only truth. Isn't that fun? And I have a fun newsletter too. I'm still going to be doing my newsletter, I think. I always say I think because I do not know. I do not have any idea. I think I'm going to do something. I don't know. You know, it might be like my trajectory in life or my wiring or however you want to put it, to just be like kind of like mediocre at everything and not really pursue anything to the big fullest. I freaking love it. I'll be that broad. Thank you, Anne. I love it, and I take 2 good snips, and my husband sniffs probably, and my husband who says, "What are you doing?" Oh, because you're sniffing it. Nice. Tripping your husband out, huh? Yeah, I don't know if you know, when I first started with essential oils, my husband was like, what the fuck? He's the biggest essential oil dude now. He loves smelling like essential oil. I don't know if you saw that one I did for Father's Day with essential oils. It was all about essential oils for men. Because man, they smell good on dude. They smell freaking good. Okay. Stuff like oud, agarwood, sandalwood, cistus. That's a flower that smells like a man to me. It's yum. Cedarwood. And yeah, if you need any help getting a man blend, let me know. I love doing those kinds of blends. We do custom blends too. You can ask for me to do a custom blend for you if you want. So yes, exciting things. And then as far as wisdom dialogues, I don't see that interfering with anything. I think I'll still be doing wisdom dialogue, so we'll see what happens. Friday, Monday and Friday, those seem like good days. I don't think they're farmers markets days. And yeah. So yay, everyone. So that e-commerce thing, I think that's really fun. I know, you know, a lot of people have been expressing to me, gosh, it just seems to all become so darn complicated. And it's like, yeah, and now it seems like we're kind of being pushed to go more local, which feels really good, actually. It's like, hey, let's do some local things and let's just see how that goes. I mean, maybe the sign will just point to, okay, you're on to something else. I don't know. Nael was asking me to do retreats. Maybe that'll be what it is. I don't know. But what a ride, you guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing that too. Akea said, why did you get off Amazon? Oh, Amazon. Yeah, we were done with them. We were over them. They were basically costing us more than um, we were making, and they're barely showing our products. So we just got off Amazon and slowed it all down. That was good. Heat before blocking is really nice. Oh, I bet it is. Yeah, blocking in the heat is also really nice. It's pretty hot right now. Yep. Well, I'll even get some warm water. Just drink some warm water. If you guys want to know what we're talking about, blockasana.com or blocktherapy.com. That's where you buy the blocks, and they got all their lessons and stuff, and they're really good at it. They just have so many, and they access all over the place. I just did some videos because it was fun, and also I was able to share it with people that wouldn't otherwise just try it out unless they saw and they, oh wow, okay. And I show you guys how to roll up the towel and do the belly one, so you can see what that feels like. You get a sense of what it's like to be releasing that sense of pain from the body's energy field, from the nervous system, and how that changes things, kind of changes how you hold things. I've seen so far one of my friends who's been releasing tension in this way for several months just really become masterful at seeing her patterns, because over and over again throughout the day, she's doing it. She's releasing that stuff. And when it comes up as an emotion, she sees right through it. I watch her look right through it. It's amazing. So, hooray, everyone. Does anyone have any questions for me or anything? Or would you like me to speak on something that I haven't spoken on yet? Let me know. Thank you for doing these videos. It really helped me too. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Cool. Blockasana.com. Yeah. I mean, once I found out about block therapy, I was like, oh, it's like, and I can see how it's a projection of my mind too. Because man, this is the trajectory I've been on. And it was like, as soon as I was ready to receive, I received it. It seems to be like it came from outside of myself, invented by someone else. I know I invented it. I just didn't go find myself going through all those steps. Right. And then it just popped into my awareness. And it's like, oh, of course. And it gets even better than that. It's not the end. Thank you, Nael. I love you. Thanks for showing us blocking. You love it too? Yeah, nice. I got all my friends blocking and my family members too. And you know what I do? I'm kind of like a block missionary. I take it and I cruise around with it. And I go block people up. I was blocking Chitta the other day. My friend Michelle, I had 3 blocking appointments last week, in-person blocking. And I'm just like showing my friends. They're like, everyone's like, thanks, Chit. What? People are just like, what in the world? I'm like, I know. And these are people that I know, and I know they'll just be like, what? And it's just like, it's so much fun because I just love it when my friends get released. That is just the best thing. That's one reason why I do wisdom dialogues. I'm sure I love it when my friends get released, get that reflection that my friends are being released. The other day I was at Hawaiian Sanctuary. I do that one on Fridays in person, and then I record those. Well, after that one, I was getting a drink at the little drink bar, and they told me, and the person at the drink bar said, hey, I want to hang out with you. I heard that a lot of people are getting relief after they come out of that wisdom dialogues. I'm like, oh, I love that. That's exactly what it is. That's what it's all about. And I sometimes, not very much anymore, because my mind's been really kind of purified of that kind of perception. Why aren't you getting money for this that you do? And it's like, well, it's not something that I would push away. I have donations. I have donation thing on my website. It's not something that I would push away. And at the same time, it's not something I want to limit in case it's like, you can only get a healing from me if you give you some money. And I know the rewards are just so much greater than that. And I also know that if it seems like I need money and I have to go pursue money and can't do wisdom dialogue, then that's the perception. I also know that if it seems like I need to go pursue money, I'm mistaken. So I know that's not true. um, and I was talking about it last week at the in-person one about how it doesn't really make sense. Not that it shouldn't be done, but it doesn't really make sense to accept money for healing, because healing always goes both ways. There's no way one person is bestowing a gift on the other one that the other person didn't already have. And it's an equal exchange. It's always 100% equal exchange. So I never felt like I'm entitled to your money for helping you to get relief, and then at the same time, if I was guided to charge for it, I wouldn't have a problem charging for it either. That's just not my guidance. So if you find yourself charging for healing, it's not a bad thing at all. It's customary. People do that. It's also, it's also really meaningless as far as they owe you something for it, because it's an equal exchange. Always is. So hooray, everyone. I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Yay. And I'll see you next week on Monday here online. Go to hopejohnson.org to look at my stuff. You can even donate to me if you like. You can also find Miracle Botanicals on there. You can go straight to miraclebotanicals.com. And I have videos. I have a book. I have audio. The book is like, I don't know, I think it's like $10. I think you might get it for free if you have Amazon Prime and you want a Kindle. I'm not sure. But the book is awesome. Check it out. Unschooling for Parents, A Mystic's Guide to Awakening with Children. And guess what? It was geared as a children's book, but you do not need to be a parent. Your kids could be grown, or you're never a parent. Doesn't matter. The book applies all the way across the board, because you are the mother of everything you seem to see. Isn't that so fun? So I love you guys. Thank you. I love you, everyone. Thank you so much for all the love. I love you, Kaya. Thank you, baby. Oh, thank you, Jennifer and Cora. Thank you, Lori and Phoebe and Nael. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, until next time, mahalo. Mahalo, Bob Shine and Asana. I love you. Ahui ho.